Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build video. Happy Friday everyone! I highly suggest that you grab yourself your favorite drink, a coffee, a tea, some snacks potentially. We are going to be here for a while. Today I am building in the world of, I can remember it this time, Ondarion, something like that, and I'm building on the Bellacorde Palace lot, which by default is the palace of the town. And I've been wanting to build here for a little while, and this actually took me all of 2 weeks, on and off. I had about a little bit more than 13 hours of recorded footage, which was surprising to me because if you have seen my English country estate, it took me about the same amount of time, and I really thought this was going to take me more. However, actually it did take me longer because there was a bunch of stuff that I did off camera, like floor plan and a lot of the landscaping and all that stuff, which there's not that much. But I did make a few executive decisions on cutting things out because it was just very, very long, and I was trying to not make the video too long. And I think we're roughly about an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, including the screenshots. I really, really hope you stick around for the screenshots because they are awesome. Especially, I mean, no, there's so many, but there's a hallway on the very top floor, and I did something there with the roof. So there's gorgeous lighting in there. And if you've been here for a while, you know that I love lighting. But let me tell you what I am building. So I did a bunch of research. I looked at a bunch of different castles, fortresses, palaces, and I did want to go into like the, you know, this world, or this neighborhood especially, is very much Italian inspired, I want to say, from what I've read and what I can tell. I've been to Italy. I've been to different places in Italy, and I really wanted to be true to that, but I also wanted it to really look like a palace, like something grand, not just another house, that not like a villa or a mansion. I really wanted it to look like a palace. And so I went online. I'm sorry if you hear my chair squeaking. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm sitting pretty much still. But I'm going to put a picture up on screen. This is, and I probably am going to butcher this, Miramar Castle. Miramare. I'm really not sure how to pronounce that. And it is in by Trieste, I believe, in northeastern Italy. It was built from 1856 to 1860, which was amazing to me, that to think that they built this within 4 years in 1856. Like, that's insane. But I'm going to put a few different pictures up on screen so you can kind of see what I was working with, and I loved this so much, and I really tried to do it justice. And so what I did is I tried to find as many pictures as I can, and then I made myself a little collage so that I had different angles of this lot, or of this property, and I could really try and recreate it to the best of my ability. And I also went into Google Earth and looked at it from up top, and then I took a piece of paper, and I kind of sketched out, like, okay, so this is the rough shape, and then how many squares do I do this so that it makes sense, but it also fits on this lot. And I am very, very proud of how this came out. But yeah, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. It was also very overwhelming, and I did take a few breaks. I recorded something else in the meantime, which, funny enough, I did something in the neighborhood of Dembele, whatever it's called, and I built a house there for a family, and I only used the new pack and the base game, and I was actually so happy about it. And then I realized that my recording just kind of vanished. I ran out of disk space, I guess, and didn't get a notification, or maybe I just overlooked it, and I lost all that footage. So I don't know, that was frustrating. So yeah, but I did do some other stuff in between just because I needed a break. And then there was a lot of So I went in, let me start from the beginning. I went in and I read a little bit about this family. And so for the purpose of my save file, there's what is his name? Grand Duke Tybalt, I don't know. Cap, and he's the father. There's no mother. And then he has 3 children, Beatrice, Celeste, and Virgilio. Virgie. We're gonna call him Virgie because I don't know how to pronounce that name. Virgilio? Something like that. I don't know. And so for the purpose of my save file, I had to make a little bit of an adjustment to Celeste. In my save file, she is a woman, and there is a reason for that, because I came up with some sort of a story for what happened to this family. So I know that there's backstories, and I know that there's a bunch of lore, especially going back to like the first Sims games. However, I just kind of decided that I'm gonna write my own, and for that purpose I needed Celeste to actually be the sister of what's her name, Beatrice. And I'm gonna get into the, well, I don't know, should I'm considering like telling you about what I'm doing on the screen, but really what I was trying to do is use as many pieces from the new pack as I possibly could. But for that like diagonal wall, I did use the windows from the Castle Estate kit because they were just perfect for that. And I was kind of, so my problem was that I based this on a real life building, right? And then I had to come in and kind of figure out the floor plan and how it made sense. And for me, like from while I was building the shell, that big window would have made so much sense to be like a throne room with a massive window in it, or a part of the ballroom. And when I came in to do the floor plan, it took me a good bit. I don't know how long it took me, but it did take me a long time. But here's something I did. I used these wall decorations that came with the new pack, and this chair is driving me nuts. Can you guys hear that? I am talking, I am not moving, and the chair is doing like quick, 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 quick. Oh my gosh, that's bothering me. Okay, anyways, back to what I was doing. And so yeah, the floor plan took me a really, really long time, and even when I thought I had it figured out, I then came back. Like, do you see in the front of the building, there's these 3 curved doors. There's like 3 on the first floor, and then there's another set of those same doors above it. And at first I made a throne room in there, and then I thought, well, do we need a separate throne room to and then plus a ballroom, or does it make more sense like gameplay wise if the ballroom and the throne is like the same thing? And so that's what I decided to do. So I did come in, I had already done basically the whole main floor, and then I was like, nope, never mind, let's redo that. But yeah, what I was saying is I used these wall decoration pieces, and I've used the tool mod and flipped them over, and it kind of gives these curved windows, or these arched windows, a nice trim almost. Like, it makes them feel a little bit more grand. And the actual castle, the Miramar Castle, is very bland in a very, very good way. It's very simple, but that I think that simplicity, just with how grand it is, it doesn't need much decoration, it doesn't need much stuff on there. However, if you try to translate that into The Sims, it can feel very flat and very very boring. So I did try to add a little bit of like wall decoration pieces here and there, because it was just, they're very massive walls, they're all the same, like, you know, it's just, I was trying to create some depth and interest, and so I used a lot of the decoration pieces. I also, for some of the balconies, I actually used like a fence and made it an actual balcony. And then for some, I used those, again, those awning pieces where they're not functional, but they look like a balcony. And I think the one that I used was from the Forgotten Grotto, not Forgotten Grotto, what? The Jungle Adventures, that one that I'm sizing up right now, I think, because I tried different ones and I liked the color of this one the best, and I felt like it just fit. But yeah, so that's what I did. I also did something that we can probably talk about later when it's actually on screen. But so I was trying to recreate this as best as I could, right? And it had these like curved arches in the very front, underneath like the main floor. And at this point, I hadn't decided on adding a basement to it, and I didn't really know if it needed that. And I do add a basement in a little bit later, pretty much while I was working on Virgilio's. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that name. That's how I'm saying it anyways. When I was decorating his room, I pulled something out of the catalog, and then I was like, ooh, hold on, we need a treasury. This is a castle, we need a treasury for sure. And then once I was working on that in the basement, I was then like, but now we need a dungeon. Like, this is an actual, like, in my head, this is an actual fortress. Like, it used to function just like a castle, a palace. Well, not a palace. I don't know that palaces would have dungeons, but like castles, fortresses, and stuff, they definitely would have had dungeons. And so I did add, there's a dungeon in the basement, and like a wine cellar with like a very large, grand, very medieval looking kind of table. It almost reminded me, what were those knights called? The Knights of the Round Table, I think. Is that what they were called? I don't remember. Ritter der Tafelrunde. That's the German word. I don't know what they're called in English. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. And so as I was decorating the inside, then this story came together of like, Tybalt is a very grumpy looking guy, and apparently he is not the kindest duke. I don't think that he necessarily has the best interest of the people in mind. I think he is just very by the book, and this is how you are as a ruler, and that might not always be the best for your kingdom, or it might be good for your kingdom, but not so good for the people that live in it. So yeah, and he has this like very grumpy, upset, angry expression. So I kind of was trying to like, why is he like that? And there's no wife. So but he has 3 kids, so obviously there was someone at some point. And so I'll get back into the story a little bit later, but let's talk about what is on screen right now. I did use life edit objects, like I said before. The original castle, the pictures, you could see that there was these archways in the front underneath that first level, and I wanted to recreate that, and we did get these really cool pieces in the life edit menu. And so I kind of I sized them down quite a bit, and then I merged them into the foundation, which works really well because since it's just a foundation, even if I merged them into the wall, it wouldn't be glitching through the walls and it wouldn't be interfering with any rooms on the inside. So that was really good. And I really loved the way that looked. And so I did the same thing on the other side, and then I already had placed this. I'm so annoyed with my chair right now. Oh, this is not, I'm about to sit on a wooden chair. Are you joking? I can't. Okay, I'm sorry. Focus. So I had already pulled out this fountain because I felt like this area in the front of the castle just needed some sort of interest. And so I will actually build a much bigger fountain. Over here, I'm just going to do a little bit of landscaping. I cut it out because basically it's just very basic what I'm going to do. Like, I thought I cut it out. Maybe no, I did. And this was like my 5th attempt for a fountain. And then I finally kind of I liked the shape. And I forgot to add the flooring. I will come in a little bit later. I think you definitely will see it on the screenshots or in the screenshots, but I forgot to put like a nice flooring in there. But anyway, so then I was like, okay, so this is more like the public area, and also later on I will put that new podium down there for like holding press conferences and stuff, because I felt like, okay, theoretically what I wanted to do is that I wanted to have that podium on the top balcony, kind of like, you know, Buckingham Palace, when they have any big functions for big holidays or something like that. The whole royal family is always standing on the balcony waving, and that was my idea. So like off to the left to where we're building now, is a big balcony, and I was gonna put it up there, and then I was like, well, this is guaranteed not functional. I didn't even try it, so I just put that podium down there because I felt like there's a lot of room for your Sims to gather. And then I really loved what I did here with the flooring by the fountain. It's like checkerboard, so it was like one tile and then grass, one tile and then grass, and I loved the way that it looked. It looks like a massive, I don't know, it just really looks like a castle garden, very designed and perfect and pristine and well kept. But yeah, so then I came in and I needed to do something here with these arches because they looked a little bit boring. And we did get a bunch of, or not a bunch, I feel like we could have gotten more, but I always think we could have gotten more. But I used these statues and just kind of sized them down and then merged them into the flooring a little bit. I also came in and then added a lot of lights. So at night it's really nicely lit and it looks very grand. I really like it. And I think people sometimes come up here, like this is public. Like if you're a citizen in this town, you can come up here and sit by the fountain. I don't think that this is some place where you're not allowed to be. I think that's okay. But yeah, for the landscape on the back, so I had actually zoomed out and took a good look at the world and which I'm building in, and if you can kind of see it, there's those cliffs, right? And so I thought, okay, so I wanted to kind of recreate these cliffs. So right now I'm only placing the rocks just because I wanted to get a feel for the size, and then later on I'm gonna come back in and I'm gonna add shrubs and stuff so that it really feels very cohesive with the cliffs on the sides that go down to the ocean. And yeah, I mean, you know, even looking back now, it was so much work. It was a lot of fun, and I really am realizing that I'm loving these more grand buildings or builds rather than the small family homes. I mean, I enjoy that too, but I really like the really grand things. But yeah, we're gonna go back outside and finish the landscaping a little bit later. But this is the grand ballroom. So this is a 2-story room. Now, if you felt like you needed more room, more space for your Sims, you can definitely put a ceiling in there and you have a massive room up there. But the way that I did it is that there's like a, on the second floor, there's like a balcony and you can kind of look down onto the ballroom. My husband came in a couple of times and looked at what I was doing and he's like, oh yeah, that's where the assassin would go. Holy moly, that's dark. Okay. But yeah, so there is a throne in here. I also placed the dance floor. I did come in and I playtested this whole build. I did not run into any problems. However, I am sure that I overlooked something, and I mean, like the big things that stuck out to me, like toilets, beds, chairs, and all that kind of stuff, I tried and I didn't run into any problems. And I did run a grand ball in here and that worked fine. The only thing that I personally added just for the grand ball, because I didn't know we needed one, was the toast thing, like that bowl with the champagne that came with the wedding. My Wedding Stories, was that what the pack was called? I'm not sure. I think so. I added that in because it said that, you know, an adult has to give a toast, and I put that on one of the tables and I left it in. You'll see it in the screenshots. But I also added in, just for the ball, I put in like a little bar in here. There will be a bar right outside the window, actually, behind the throne, but you would have to go like all the way out there to use it. So if you are hosting a ball, you might want to add a little bar into the ballroom. But other than that, the room is fully functional. I mean, I tried to do that grand waltz thing, and they didn't do it, but I'm not surprised. Sims rarely do what you want them to do anyways, and that's why I don't play. That's why I built. But, oh, also, something, if you are having any problems with like the friezes, you know, those wall trim decorations on the outside, mostly, there's a bug, and I had it, where they disappear. Like, it's like they're gone, but they're not gone. The pillars and stuff will still act like the frieze is there, but it's really not. But if you have a balcony in front of it, or like another room, sometimes it helps when you delete the room and then place it back, and then the frieze appears again. So that's what I had to do. I had to delete the whole pool area, which you haven't seen yet, but it'll be there. You'll see it. But I took my struggle and my nervous breakdown out of the video because I thought it was so ridiculous that it didn't work. It was really annoying. But yeah, so I added, so there's the throne, and then I also added this table, which in my mind was like the grand table. Now, the Sims don't act that way. The king was, or the duke was supposed to sit in that middle chair, and then both daughters, one on either side, because him and his son, they have a really horrible relationship. So he's kind of counting on his daughters. But I can start kind of getting into the story. So the reason why I made Celeste a woman, a female, was that I have, okay, so how do I start telling you this story and still make sense? So in my save file, the mom, the Duchess, has passed away, either from illness or something, but it was somewhat sudden. And I think that Tybalt, yes, I think he was madly in love with her. I think that while she was still alive, he was a phenomenal duke. I think he was very stern, and he might not have had very good relationships with other people, but he truly loved her, and she was kind of the one that helped him learn that it was okay to be kind, and it was okay to have a soft spot. And so when she passed away, he just kind of was drowning in his sorrow and in his grief, and now he's counting on his daughters, because his son to him is a loser. Like, he doesn't care for him, he doesn't want to bother with him. His son has made it pretty clear that he wants nothing to do with whatever his dad is doing, and he wants nothing to do with, he doesn't want to become a duke at some point. He doesn't want to run anything. He just wants to live his life. I don't think that he minds having all the money. I think he really likes that, and I think he uses that to impress ladies. I think he's a little bit like a Don Lothario kind of type, a little bit of a playboy, and doesn't take love seriously, doesn't take women seriously. He's just dating them because it's impressive to them. And I think that, you know, a lot of the girls that he's dating are like, oh my goodness, I could be a princess, you know, and he's just messing with them. And that's one of the things that his father really he doesn't respect him for that, because he really loved his mother and, well, his wife, his children's mother, and really truly respected her. And so, yeah, his son is out, definitely is not going to inherit a title or anything like that. And so the two daughters, I think that for me, Celeste is the oldest child, then there's Virgilio, and then Beatrice is the youngest in my game. I think that by default it's supposed to be a little bit different, but this is my story, so this is how I'm telling it. So Beatrice is like the baby of the family, and the mother, which you will see hints at that a little bit later on when we move on. She was a phenomenal singer. She was a musician. She was very talented when it comes to music. She had an amazing voice, and she spent a lot of time with her oldest daughter Celeste. And they used to sing together, and she really loved her children so much. She loved all three of her children. And I think part of why Virgilio is turning into the guy that he is because of the loss of his mother. I think that really, I think that messed with him in a way that he doesn't want to admit. But I think that's kind of why he's treating women a certain way, just because of the hurt that he's feeling over the loss of his mother. But she really loved her children. She spent a lot of time with her children. She, you know, I'm kind of thinking in that regard a little bit of what we would think of Princess Diana, you know, so kind of like that. Like, she was always like putting her children first, and all the royal duties and stuff that came after, like her kids were first. Anyways, moving on. So, but I think that Beatrice is quite a bit younger, maybe like 10 years younger than Celeste. And so when she came along, she was like the baby of the family, and Celeste became very jealous of her little sister, and they kind of developed this rivalry over, you know, spending time with their parents. And I think that the dad kind of took Celeste under his wing and was more like, okay, like treating her kind of like the son that he never had. But she's like, okay, well, but I'm not a replacement for your son. I'm me, and I want to be me. Her and her sister both have inherited the musical genius from their mother, but Beatrice is a little bit more like, to me, Celeste, and you'll see that when we get into her room, she's a little bit more harsh. Like, she likes black and white. She is very by the book. She is very like streamlined. Like, this is how you act. This is what it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, those are the rules you're going to stick with. Is Beatrice, I think, to me, is more like a soft, she's very soft. She likes creamy colors, just like her mother. And she's very gentle and soft, and her mother thought that she would make an amazing queen someday. But since Celeste is very jealous of her sister, she's like, they're kind of like rivals now. So that's a little bit of the story that I'm getting into now, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later. So I was actually working on Virgilio's room, like I said, and then I was like, hold on, I need a dungeon. And so there's 3 cells, and I did put some stuff. Let's talk about I guess I'm doing the cells first. I don't remember in which order I did it, but I was like, okay, I need a treasury. And so yeah, there is a vault in there. I will be putting the vault like off to the side, and I didn't know if that works if you merge it into the wall like that, so I added the vault door separately. It all works. I've tried it out and it works plenty fine. But the reason I needed a treasury was because I found this little item, the crown on that little red pillow cushion thing, and I put it somewhere. Like, okay, hold on, I need a treasury, and that crown is supposed to be in the treasury, but it's not. And so then I went in here, and this is kind of where the story of the mother really took shape in my head. Have you ever seen Richie Rich? It's an older movie from the 90s. I love it. But if you've seen the movie, then the parents had this treasure chest, and there was this guy, and he was like, I want to get into the treasure, and he tried to off the parents, but then they were found, and he thought that, because they were always talking about their greatest treasure, and he thought that there was a bunch of money in there, but there wasn't. It was just the most important items and things, like the son's first shoes and art and bicycles, and like things that are of emotional value, but no material value whatsoever. There's no money in it. And so I decided that was my inspiration for this treasury. Things that are important to the family, but they're not really worth that much. I mean, I'm sure that there are some things down here that are very much worth things, but so I decided to create this corner here, and these are things that belong to the late Duchess, and this is kind of something that the Duke set up after she passed away. He was like, okay, all of these items are extremely important to me. They remind me of my wife. Put them in the treasury. I don't want anybody touching them. I don't want anybody going there. He thinks he's the only one that has access to the treasury. He thinks he's the only one that has the code to this room, but he's actually not. There's somebody else who has access, but he doesn't know about that. But so everything that is near and dear to his heart and to the late Duchess's, or was near and dear to the Duchess's heart, is in here. So that corner to the left is kind of what the Duke did after she passed away. It's kind of like a shrine to her memory. And then over in this corner, I kind of tried to add a lot of things from the children. Like I put in the first bassinet, like they all lived in there, and their first little handprints. And I put artwork made by kids on the wall and the toy chest. And I really tried to like show that this is a collection of things that are of value to the parents. And these are very important memories that they really try to hold on to and keep maybe for future generations for their children, so that if someday they want their kids to sleep in the same little bassinet, they can, and they kept it for them. And then over in this corner, honestly, it was just like, okay, these are just like more random things. Like this corner doesn't really have a purpose specifically, but the other two corners really did, in my head at least. I hope you can tell the story. But there you can see that little cushion with the crown on it. And so when I was working on Virgilio's room, I pulled that out, and for some reason, like my brain was like, he took that out of the treasury. And so here's why. I think that he knows the code to the treasury. And like I said before, he is really struggling with the loss of his mother. I don't think that she's been gone for very long, maybe a few years or something like that. Excuse me, I need some water. Okay, that's better. So maybe a few years. And now I hung up that picture over there with the lady with the microphone. I think that was her. I think that she was a great singer. And but I think that Virgilio is really suffering, dealing with the mourning of his mother, and he somehow got his hands on the passcode to get into the treasury. And I think that when he was little, his mom jokingly would put her crown on his head and would mess around with him, and they would maybe pretend that he was the king, and like she had so many great hopes for him and really believed in him, and he wanted to be king. I think at that point he really that's what he wanted to become. And then she passed away, and he's like, what for? Like the things, like even if I would become the Duke or the king or whatever, the emperor, I'm still not that gives me great power, but I'm still not able to protect the ones that I love, and I might still lose the ones that I love. So I think that's kind of what turned him sour. So the death of the mother really had a great impact on this whole family. But I think he snuck in here and he took the crown out. He stole the crown from the treasury. And I referenced that in these little, right there. So the Duke's is here, but hers is gone. But yeah, hers is going to be in Virgilio's room somewhere. So if you can see it, leave me a comment. Well, I mean, you're going to probably see me place it. But if you have watched the whole video, then let me know in the comments if you found the crown in Virgilio's room. But yeah, so that was kind of where the first inspirations for the story of the mother came from. And then later on, there's a tower room, like in the very top of the castle, there's a tower, and there's like one room, and the only way you can get to that room is through that new clock, that little secret passageway. And there is something up there that also goes together with the story of the mother. So stick around until the very end and find out what that part of the story is. But over here, I built the dungeons. I built like these cells. And I did put a double bed in here because I thought maybe somebody wants to be a bit nasty down here. I don't know. You're welcome to. So there's a double bed in here. And that's the only cell that actually has a light in there, just because I thought, for what's it called? for ambiance, there was some candlelight in here. And then over here on the third one, I was like, I don't want to put any other bits in here. So I found these like slats and stuff and some rock, and I thought maybe this is one that is a little bit crumbling, so that's kind of what I was trying to reference, so that they all kind of look a little bit different. And then I merged, and I had to build. I was trying to pull this into the wall because I didn't want to see the heart thing, because why would there be a heart bit in the dungeon? So I wanted to merge it into the wall. So I had to build a room outside of this room just so I could pull it out there. But anyways, I also put one of the collectible keys out here. I think maybe for the guards. And this is, I don't think this is an active dungeon. Like, they're not actually using it other than for being naughty maybe sometimes. But I put a key there because I thought it was cute. And then there's also in the cell with the double bed, there's a key just in case, you know, that the thing closes, you can get out. Maybe you want to lock up your lover. I don't know. But yeah, now over here, this is the last room in the basement, and this is the wine cellar. So yeah, really honestly, I mean, there's not that much in here. There's a big table, and there is going to be a bar, and then other than that, there is storage shelves for your wine. I mean, there's probably what, 9 on each side or something like that, so you can have a massive collection. Also, something I wanted to mention, I think this is the most expensive lot I have ever built, or at least since I've started YouTube. I'm not 100% sure, so feel free to check. But this one is like 1.2 million simoleons, so this is quite a chunk of money. But that's okay. They can afford it. I don't remember. I think I cheated a little bit of money, but no, I don't think I did. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I used the horse ranch bar because it felt, the other one was a bit too ornamental for down here, I felt like. And so I used that one because it's more rustic. And yeah, like I said, I just put like these barrels in here, and I love the way that it looks. Like, I love this room. I can imagine some really cool parties going down here. And I do add a piano down here as well. So you can hire a piano player and then host a really cool party down here. You could host a really cool medieval wedding down here too. Yeah, that's kind of what I did down here. And yeah, everything works. Oh, and I also added the nectar maker, so if one of your Sims wants to get into nectar making, you totally could. Also, something I wanted to say, I did add quite a few activities that you could do, but there's nothing like woodworking, because I was like, you know, why would they need that? They kind of just order everything. But if you wanted to, you could definitely use one of the cells and put like a woodworking table in there if you'd like. Like always, feel free to change things and adjust things the way that they make sense for you and your gameplay. Just don't re-upload anybody's builds as your own. Just be respectful of that. But other than that, if you need to change something, please feel free. I'm not mad. But yeah, let's move on to, we are on the second floor. So there's the basement, and then there's 3 stories up top. This is the second floor, and this is off of one of the hallways. I cut out all of the bathrooms except for when I was working on the king's bathroom, and all of the hallways and like little nooks and sitting areas and all that kind of stuff. I cut that out because I thought we can just focus on the big builds. But yeah, I added a gym here. This originally was supposed to be the king's office, but then I had a different little corner somewhere, and it made more sense to me, the location of that room. So I decided that this is going to be a gym. And yeah, this is this is the little corner that I had left, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I thought, well, maybe it could be the king's office. Not king. I keep calling him king. He's a duke. Maybe he's a king. I don't know. His name is Duke. Whatever. But it is a little bit squeezy, but at the same time, you know, at this point, if I wanted to make it realistic, like, I kept thinking Buckingham Palace. Like, I watched way too much of The Crown when I still had Netflix. I've rewatched The Crown probably 6 times. I love that show. And but like, I guess in Buckingham Palace, or in any of their palaces or houses, all of the rooms are just so massive, which, you know, is a little bit hard to recreate in The Sims, especially if you're focusing on recreating an actual build. So yeah, anyways, it's a small office, but I thought it made sense because it is actually, so there is that one, the main entrance is under that big balcony. If you're looking at it on the front to the left, and then to the right there is a little awning, and there is a private entrance to the private part of the castle that's on the right hand side, and it has its own staircase. So there's a grand staircase on the left side of the castle, and then there's a big staircase over here on this side, so it's kind of really underneath this office where we are right now. And I put some coins on the table because I thought maybe those are taxes that the poor citizens had to bring by at his last what is it called, like not the press conference. They can host something like a gathering with the common folk or something like that, and I thought maybe these are taxes that he's counting, like oh my goodness, what was the king from King George? No, what was the king from Robin Hood, you know, when he's sitting in his chariot and like counting gold coins. But yeah, so this is like accessible, so if somebody has a meeting with the king in his private office, they can take the private entrance and then go upstairs, and then the office is right there. But now we are actually on the 3rd floor. I lied before, there is 5 stories. So there's the top tower room, this floor, a floor below, and then the 1st floor. This is the private dining room, and for some reason this room turned out to be my favorite room. I really cannot tell you why. I mean, I love green, but I don't know, but I just really loved the way that this room turned out. Like I mentioned before, no, maybe I didn't, but the late mother of the 3 kids was a phenomenal singer and musician, and both of her daughters have taken after her, and they both play the piano. I will put this piano over in the living room in a minute, or maybe later on or something, but I'd put it in here first, and then I wanted it to be in the living room. Yeah, so other than that, I did this thing here with those pillars on the side of the fireplace, and I felt like it made it look so much more grand. It's such a simple trick, but I really love the way that it looked. But yeah, so this is at the there's another staircase that leads up here. We're still on the 3rd floor, but this is Celeste's room, and this is what I was saying before. She is very, like, the way that she was, her mother loved her dearly, okay? But her father, he was never really on board with his son's behavior ever, because he was always a little bit weak in his eyes. You know, he was not the man he thought he should be. And I think he blamed his wife a little bit for that. Like, you're making him soft. Don't treat him like that. Like, he needs to take over my role at some point, and like, you're making him soft. And then when he kind of gave up on his son, and then he dug his claws into his daughter. That sounds horrible, and that's not what I mean. I think he really loves his kids. I think he's just the kind of man that has a little bit of a hard time showing that. And so he thought, you know, making his oldest daughter really tough and just harsh, that would help. And so she really is that person. Like, she's very harsh, she's very cold, she is very she doesn't consider emotions into anything. She doesn't factor them in at all. If something needs to be done, then that needs to be done, and how you feel about it is really a you problem. But yeah, so her room is very black and white, and I love this room. I love the way that it turned out. I did use these pillows a little bit, but what? No, I didn't use them a little bit. I used them and I sized them up a little bit, because I feel like once you add these massive pillows onto your bed, it makes it just feel that much more proper and just grand. I did try to rotate this pillow because I thought maybe I could, but it's shaped in a particular way that it has to sit like this, otherwise it just kind of looks odd. But I did add a makeup table in here because the way that I have created her now in my game is she has dark lipstick and very dark eyeshadow. Like I said, she's very harsh, and she wears these like, what are they called? Suits, like, very sharp, edgy suits and pointy shoes, and she's not soft at all. But over here it did something. And by the way, the makeup table still works. I tried it. I merged this mirror in, and the reason I did was I think that these pictures up here are pictures of her and her mother, and maybe her and her sister before they kind of became rivals. So that's what I was trying to show with this. I think those are just little bits of memories that she holds dear, and that kind of sometimes make her very sad. Like, she thinks about how life used to be, and now she feels this pressure of responsibility that she doesn't really know that she wants. And yeah, I think as harsh as she is behind closed doors, she really is a very kind soul, and is just kind of trapped in this role that she wants to please her father. And so I think even though this is truly not her, I think she really she's trying to do the right thing, or she thinks that this is the right thing anyways. And yeah, but I don't think she's very happy with the situation and with life the way that it is right now. And I think she also very much misses her mother. Over here I did something a little bit. I added these debug tarot cards. And they gave me another idea for the mother. So I think, you know how I said earlier that the mom and the son, they kind of used to, she used to put her crown on his head, and they pretended that he was king and they were playing together. I think what the mom and Celeste used to do was that the mom was very interested in the paranormal. And at this point, I was still thinking about, like, what do I do with that tower room? Like, I was thinking about a dungeon, like a 50 Shades of Grey kind of room. But I was like, I feel like so many people have already done that. And I don't know, I wanted another story. And I was still considering it at this point. But I had put these tarot cards out there, and I thought that was something that the mom and Celeste used to do together. Like, Celeste was kind of interested in that, which is maybe also why she likes those dark colors, because she likes like the dark, the hidden, the paranormal, the what's creeping in the shadows, like what else can I find, like secrets and that kind of stuff. She's really into that. So I put those cards on the table, and then that's kind of where the story ended, and I was like, I don't know where to take it from here. Also, yes, I have noticed, in case you noticed it now, when I was editing the video, I was like, these couches are not evenly apart from that fireplace. Like, the left couch is way further to the left. I think I went in and I fixed it. But, yeah, there is no TV in here. There is, I believe, well, there's one TV in the gym, and then Beatrice, she has a TV in her bedroom. But other than that, there's no TVs. I did mean to put a record player in here, and I forgot, but I do put the piano in here. So there's also going to be a tea set in here, and what, I think that's it. Well, I mean, there's like another sitting area, but as much as I wanted to give you guys things for your Sims to do, I mean, there's books, you can read books. But I thought that this was still a castle and a palace, and so very proper. So I'm not going to put the woohoo game on the table or something like that. But there's also chess tables. There's multiple ones. I think there's 2 or 3. So there is things for your Sims to do. There's also going to be a easel. If you just heard that, that was my toe. I was holding on with my toe to the windowsill to put my feet up. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, I did. Oh yeah, and I put that's the toast thing, not toast, but like the champagne toast thing. I did put that up here. I thought, maybe if somebody is celebrating a birthday or an engagement potentially at some point, maybe this is something. I need to continue on with my story about the mom now, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to tell you everything, because we're almost through. But yeah, so like I said, the Grand Duke Tybalt, he was shattered by the loss of his wife. and he was really truly just mourning her death, and it made him somewhat bitter, but not in an angry way, in a way, because it's unfair. Why did he have to lose his wife? She was his partner, and he was just really shattered by this. And so that made him a bit bitter, but not unfair or very harsh. Like, it didn't bring out that harshness. Really quickly, because it is on screen now, this is Beatrice's room, which is very bright and airy, very much like her mother was, like I said before. And this, I think this used to be the mother's bedroom, because it is the closest to the king's room. And I was just kind of like, you know, in proper old houses, they wouldn't share a bedroom. And so I think this was the mom's room. And maybe just before the mom got sick or passed away or whatever, Beatrice always wanted this room because of the window, and she's like, this is such a princess room, can I please have this? And the mom was like, okay, sure, we'll swap rooms, it doesn't matter to me. And she just wanted her kids to be happy, and especially Beatrice, because she was the baby. So yeah, Beatrice got this room. I'm not like I said, I have recorded the bathrooms, but they're all going to be in the screenshots. Her bathroom is super cool because it used to be the queen's bathroom. Her bathroom is my absolute favorite bathroom. Stick around for the screenshots and look at the bathroom. But anyways, back to the story. So, oh my goodness, I don't remember. Okay, so yes, he was heartbroken. Like I said before, the mother was kind of into the paranormal. And I think, well, I don't think, I know that Beatrice, she also misses her mother dearly, but she has her room, and maybe she even has her old bed, and she got her purse collection, and she has a lot of things. And I think even though she is very sad and very broken by this, she was so close to her mom that to her it almost feels like there's no regrets there. There is no, oh, I wish something would have been different. Like, it's just a very, it sounds so weird, but it's a wholesome mourning. Like, there's no regrets. They had a fantastic relationship, and with the other two, with her siblings, it's just the impact is deeper and bigger and worse and more negative. But so Beatrice, she's very curious, and so she went snooping around the castle, and she found that clock, and she found out that the clock is a secret passageway and leads up to the tower. And she found a room up there that was full of paranormal stuff, and we will go up there and you will see it. But I kind of want to just continue to tell you this story because I don't want to run out of time. But she found this room, and she told her father about it. They are also very close, and I think she is the only one that he's very kind to and just accepts her for who she is. And she told her dad about it, and she's like, hey, I found this room. I don't know what to make of it. There's like a seance table up there. There's a picture of this guy. There's candles. There's a bed. Well, so Tybalt did some research, and he found out that, so in my save file, or in my story, in my world, Guidry the ghost is not a ghost. Guidry is very much still alive, or maybe he just recently passed away, but the wife actually had an affair over years with Guidry. I think maybe they grew up together, and her family was like, you need to marry into a good name. Guidry is not the guy for you. And so she married Tybalt, and she loved him. However, she loved Guidry too, and she always had an affair on the side. And so she kind of turned the tower into their secret place. So then I was like, okay, well, why would she hold seances? Maybe, I'm thinking, that's where they used to have an affair. That's like, the dad didn't even know that room existed, or he thought it was just storage, or, you know, it was used for like a lookout tower or something like that. And now he knows that she never really gave up on Guidry, and that turned him sour. Like, that really, now he is just vengeful, and it filled him with rage, and he's done. And he turned into this very brutal man that does not do anything for his kingdom. He does what he does out of hate and out of anger and out of disappointment and frustration and loss and like, you know, all of these negative emotions, like that is what really turned him, and he has turned very evil after he found out about that, about the betrayal, that he's been betrayed for years, for decades probably, and it never stopped. And so then I was like, okay, well, still, like, what about the seance table? Like, why is that there? I am thinking that at some point Guidry passed away, and the mom was trying to get in contact with him. Like I said, she's very into the paranormal, so maybe she was trying to get in contact with him, and either she got sick or something happened and it killed her. You know, like something went wrong when she was dealing with whatever she was dealing with, and something went wrong, and she passed away. But yeah, that's kind of the story that I came up with. And so the dad turned very sour and very, very evil. But if you have seen, was it two, maybe 3 weeks ago, I posted a video of like a little apartment over in Dambly. Forgive me if I'm butchering that word. That across the waters there is an apartment that I built, and I think I mentioned in that build that I built it for a young musician. She is so stunning. She has short brown hair with like this swift, like she's so gorgeous. Her name is Nia, and she came to the palace for the grand ball, and she's a singer. She has a very raspy voice, and she is gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous. She's very young. She's maybe as old as Celeste is. But Tybalt kind of took a liking to her. He's kind of intrigued by her, and I think part of that is because she's a singer, and he kind of has a thing for singers. Or maybe it's because she reminds him of his wife. Or maybe it's because she does remind him of his wife, but in a better way. Like, I think that she is kind of, she's very youthful. I mean, she's very young. She's like the age, his daughter's age, his oldest daughter's age. So I'm guessing maybe in her 30s, early 30s. And he is probably more in his late 50s or maybe early 50s. But I think that she is the one, at least in my story, that will help get him back on track. Or maybe something bad happens because Celeste finds out about it and she's not happy about it. She does not agree of that. Nothing happened yet, by the way. She came to the grand ball, like I said, and I have played through this a little bit. There's been some flirtation, there's been some talk, they've danced together, but Celeste is not having it because she is determined that she will take over the role of the leader or the ruler of this kingdom. And well, ever since she found out about what happened with her mother, it's, you know, she's turned bitter, or even more so than she was before. And so yeah, there's a intrigue, you know, there's drama going on here. So I'm gonna, if I ever continue to play in this, I'm gonna keep you updated on what I'm doing if you're interested. But this is the king's bed. Like, I completely talked over the king's bedroom. I mean, there's nothing special. It's very dark and moody, and that was on purpose. But his bathroom is very personalized because I feel like he spends a lot of time in here for some reason. I think he likes taking baths because it's like where he can get away from the world. So I put some files that maybe he needs to read that are brought up to him. I think he has a little bit of a drinking problem, maybe because there's a wine next to his bathtub, which is totally fine. Don't get me wrong, bath and wine is great. But I think he maybe starts it in the early morning in his coffee mug, or maybe he drinks it out of a coffee mug, just to kind of like, you know, no, I'm just drinking coffee. What are you talking about? I'm not drinking. That kind of a thing. Yeah, so there's some files next to his bathtub that was kind of a nod to, oh yeah, he's really into his work, but like not in a positive way. This is the last bedroom that I'm gonna be decorating on camera. Also, there is on the first floor there is a more like a commercial kitchen right next to the grand to the ballroom. And it has the kitchen counters from, or the kitchen item from the dine out pack in there, or 2 of them actually. So you can just hire a chef and then kind of order from there. But I felt like down there by the ballroom, it made more sense to have like an industrial kitchen. I am not showing you the build-in part of it because we're already at an hour. But if you want to see it, it's in the screenshots. And then off to the side of that kitchen is a butler's room, a butler's bedroom, and a bathroom. There is also 2 hallway bathrooms downstairs, and then there's another hallway bathrooms on the 2nd floor, kind of between the office and Virgilio's room. Maybe you'll see it. I don't know. Maybe when... Have I worked on? No. I think Virgilio's room is the next one. But this one is the room that used to be Beatrice's, and then it was her mother's. And so what I was trying to do here is that you see the petals of the flower that are laying down. For whatever reason, like when I put them on the table, you wouldn't see the petals, but I wanted them there because I wanted to show that this is the mother's room and the flowers are wilting. Unfortunately, we don't have any others, but like I said, she was a musician, so I put the saxophone in here. I put her own grand piano in here, and I put this fan under her bed and then a mask on her table. So maybe she passed away right after a ball. And I think the room has stayed the same way ever since she passed away. Like the Duke doesn't go in here. Maybe one of the kids comes in here sometimes, but it's kind of, it's this time capsule of this was her room and nobody's allowed in there. Like he'll get really angry, even though he has found out about her deep dark secret. He still loves her, still his wife, and he's having to deal with whatever he's having to deal with. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was trying to tell in this room. And then I remembered that we had this picture that came with the Life and Death expansion. This, like, I should have changed the pose of them. I'm not a fan of this thing. Like, I feel like at least have it be like a proper portrait, like somebody sitting, some other standing, like not this cast gallery kind of pose. I'm not a fan. I'm sure there is some that you can download. I didn't do that for this build because honestly, I'm recording this Thursday morning and I've just finished building yesterday. So I didn't really have time to go in there and do a whole bunch of stuff because I really wanted to post this on Friday. But anyways, now we're working on the last, is it the last bedroom? Don't remember 100%. But this is Virgilio's room. And in his description that came with the game, it says that he really doesn't have any interest in any of this. And like I said before, I think he's very into the money, but he really truly does not want, like, he doesn't feel very royal. He doesn't feel, he doesn't want his room to be decorated like that. He just wants to be a normal man with a lot of money. But his room is also the only bedroom that is not on the 3rd floor. His bedroom is on the 2nd floor. It's like across the room from like the grand staircase and the office. That's what I said, like between this room and the office there's another hallway bathroom, so that's kind of gives you an idea where it is. There's also pictures of the floor plan later on with the screenshots. But yeah, he is very into swordsmanship, and so I put like a bunch of swords in his room kind of to just tell that. But he's also very into, staying in shape, fitness. That's kind of what he does to deal with his loss as well. And then I put a gaming console in here and just like a bunch of clutter and stuff just shoved under the bed and stuff, because I think he doesn't allow the butler to come in here. He's like, I don't care for that. I don't want you here. I don't need you to clean my clothes and fold my shirts neatly. Like if you're seeing it right now, there's like the stack of folded shirts, and I'm putting that outside right in front of his door. Like the butler is not allowed in here, and you can tell it's very messy and very not fitting for a castle. But yeah, I think he locks his room, and his father is not, he doesn't care. Like I think at some point he was disappointed in his son. I mean, he still is extremely disappointed in his son, and he requests his presence for like a ball and stuff, just for, you know, just to show the people in the kingdom that he has full control over his children. And they're a big happy family or whatever. Well, I don't know that he cares about that. But yeah, I put some just some clutter. I thought maybe that soccer team is really like his swordsmanship team or whatever. Like, I don't know what that would be called. But yeah, that's really what I was trying to tell. The kind of the story that I was trying to tell in Virgilio's room is that he couldn't care less about any of this other than the money. He'll take the money, but that's really all he cares about. This is a private kitchen. This is also, let me think. This is, I want to say it's on the 3rd floor. No, I can't remember. No, yeah, because the gym and the office are on the 2nd floor, and then this is kind of like the apartment that they all live in. But this is the private kitchen, fully functional. I do clutter up all of the counters, and then I came back in when I was playtesting, and the counter right next to the fridge, there's like 2 things on it, and I will remove those. But other than that, I put a bunch of clutter in here just because I wanted to show like the contrast between this kitchen and then that commercial kitchen, which is very, you know, metally and very functional. And then this is kind of the kitchen that they use themselves. Like Beatrice will come in here and she will have a smoothie after she went downstairs to the gym, and somebody likes to make waffles, and I think that's something that she used to do with her mom. Like, you know, like Virgilio and his mother, they used to play together, and Celeste and her mother, they used to explore the paranormal and like do the tarot cards and all that kind of stuff together. And I think that Beatrice and her mom, they cooked together, they spent time in the kitchen together, they made waffles together, they grew herbs, and that was kind of the thing that she liked to do with her mother. And so I think the kitchen now is kind of her domain. Excuse me, what happened with my voice? Like I said, I cluttered it up. So yeah, the kitchen is kind of her domain, and sometimes I think she actually cooks for her family, or, you know, the ones that can be bothered to have an actual family meal together, because I don't think that they do that much anymore, ever since the mother passed away, and especially since the dad found out about what happened. I think Beatrice is like the one that can kind of, I think she's coping with it better than the other ones as well. Like, she already coped with the death of her mother better. I think that Celeste is, she doesn't know. I don't know that she knows about that room up top, but since she was really into the paranormal, maybe she wants her sister to tell her how she got up there and try to call on her mother with a what is it called? Good grief. That table, the seance table. Maybe she wants to really get in touch with her mother and try to, you know, make up for the time that they lost together, and or ask her for advice, like, this is what dad is doing now, like, you broke him, or I don't know. I think she wants like clarifying conversations with her mom, and she's maybe hoping that her sister will give her that, but they have such a bad relationship, and her sister's like, no, why would I help you? You're horrible to me. You're a terrible person. I don't want anything to do with you. So that's kind of like the idea that was spooking around in my head. But there's a water kettle thing here. The cereal and that challah is what I will remove from here, just so you have one free counter that you can work on. But now we are in the secret tower. And like you can see, I put the clock here. I already play tested it. It totally works. You can get up here. And yeah, this is where the seance table is gonna go. And I try to hint at a deeper secret, like, you know, the affair that she had for years. I think that maybe her and Guidry maybe grew up in the same town. And like I said, then her parents were like, no, you were raised in a certain way, and he's a commoner, and you're not gonna be together with a commoner. But there's his picture. But I will move that picture, and then I'll put some spider webs over it, kind of so it's a little more secretive. And I did add the seance table in here with everything, and then a bed. And you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe they didn't even have the affair up here. Maybe this was just a place that really truly was just the Duchess's room. Like, this is where she would go, or maybe this is where she kind of like had this set up for after Guidry passed away, and then she spent like day and night up here and was trying to communicate with him through seances, and then she just kind of put a bed up here. So maybe that's what that is. And I don't know, maybe in the future one of her kids will use this room for, I don't know, maybe Celeste will come up here and she will do seances, or maybe she just, you know, goes full on into the whole thing and like she just lives up here. Or maybe somebody gets locked up here. I don't know who could somebody get locked up here? I don't know. Let me know what ideas you might have for what this room could turn into in the future, or what you might want to use it for if you're downloading this. Definitely let me know. If ever you have like cool ideas, just tell me. I love hearing about all of the things that, because sometimes you guys are like, oh, I feel like it could have been this, and I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, that would be so perfect. But yeah, I don't know why I put these here. Maybe those are all pieces of jewelry that she got from Guidry, and then that rose was a rose that she maybe got on their last date, or it's a dried rose that he gave her on their first date. Maybe she's had that thing forever. But yeah, so I'm just adding some more spider webs around here, and then I remove some lights, and see that spider web over his picture. I just love that. I love the way that looks. And then add some candles around here, because I feel like, yeah, that shouldn't be electricity up there. And then this door is fully non-functional, but I wanted to add it because right behind that door is that hallway to the dungeon. And I wanted there to be, it should make sense. You know, my builds always have to make some sort of sense. But I did add a bunch of like grass in front of it, and I think maybe a spider web or something. I feel like I added something else. But yeah, so back here on the patio terrace kind of area, I did add a bar. I added a bunch of the new tables and the buffet table that came with the tea, with that tea party kit. I don't remember exactly what it was called. It came as this whole like selection with the new expansion. So I did add the little pastries and all that stuff, and like I said, the buffet table, and kind of set it up like, you know how the royal family in Britain always hosts like the annual garden party or something like that. That's what I was referring to. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, then consider liking and subscribing to my channel. It really helps my channel grow. If you'd like to download this from the gallery, my gallery ID is VinnasNook, VinnasNook, and all of the information is in the description. Leave me some comments, let me know what you think, and yeah, I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next time in the Nook. Bye guys!